Okay, thanks for that. Next question comes from Assembly Member Pigeon, and
Thank
it's Bakerloo line extension.
Thank you for your
proposed stations.
Thank you for your question. I know your long-standing interest in this. The Bakerloo line extension is absolutely vital to support population and employment growth in South East London. It will provide quicker, more direct journeys into central London and reduce congestion on the rest of the network, including rail services into London Bridge. In spring 2017, TfL carried out a public consultation to help decide the best locations for the new stations. As part of this, a number of residents suggested that a new station at Bricklayer's Arms should be reconsidered. This included Southwark Council, which supports a new tube station at the Bricklayer's Arms, and TfL will take that into consideration, along with all the consultation responses when reaching any decision. The Bricklayer's Arms site was initially proposed as a potential location for an emergency access and ventilation shaft. It was not considered a preferred option for a station, not least because it has less land available for construction and is relatively close to the existing tube stations at Elephant and Castle and Borough. TfL is now reviewing all the consultation responses and carrying out more work on possible station locations. This includes looking at a possible station at Bricklayer's Arms. TfL will be looking at the benefits of the various options for local residents and wider users of the extension. TfL is also reviewing the shaft sites and requirements as it develops designs for the scheme. An initial response to the issues raised in the consultation, including the potential for a new station at Bricklayer's Arms, is due to be published early 2018, hopefully January. A further update will be published in summer 2018 following the next stage of design work.
Well, thank you very much, and I welcome the Bakerloo line extension for all the reasons you give, and given there are 9 times as many tube stations north of the River Thames and south, it's long overdue that we improve tube connections in South East London. Under the current proposals, there is such a large distance between the Elephant and Castle and the first tube station on the Old Kent Road, so much so that, as you said, a ventilation shaft is being proposed at Bricklayer's Arms. Given the gap between to the first new station will be around 2 kilometres, do you agree that that large distance between stations is unacceptable?
So you're right to remind us of the stations and shafts. So the current plans consulted on were 4 new stations with 3 shafts along the route. The challenge is each station costs hundreds of millions of pounds potentially, and so it's making sure we spend the monies we think we have sensibly. That includes distance time between stations, and so the TfL will respond early 2018, and hopefully it'll take on board some of the points made during the consultation process, bearing in mind obviously concerns around finances.
I understand that there's a huge cost installing a ventilation shaft, so in some ways you're part of the way there. I mean, do you think it's right that residents would potentially miss out on a much needed station but have to put up with a huge ventilation shaft in their community?
And that's one of the concerns residents have raised. They are contributing towards a tube line and not directly benefiting because there's no station there. And a number of people have made points similar to that, but you'll be aware. I mean, the spending envelope we've got is £3.6 billion. In outruns, it could get to 4.6 billion. We're keen to make sure we spend within that envelope. I take on board the points you've made, as indeed others have as well.
Yeah, there is significant support for this new station from residents, local businesses, cross-party, Southwark councillors. And I'm not sure if you're aware, some of these sort of arguments that you're stating today, they were some of them that were used in the past when the Jubilee line extension was proposed, and people didn't want a station in Bermondsey and Southwark, but look what a success they've been and helped in those areas. So just would like just a firm assurance from you that TfL is fully investigating the proposal to have a Bricklayer's Arms tube station and to look at how it can be delivered.
I can reassure you that the consultation is meaningful. They are considering that. It was part of the responses we've received is a strong case for that. But I want to be quite candid and explain that actually additional stations on Old Kent Road do cost a lot of money. The figure I've been given is it could add hundreds of millions of pounds of additional costs to the extension. So with the context of the cost, of course, to take on board your points, which are well made.
Lovely, thank you. And then finally, I'm looking at another proposed station, the current second Old Kent Road station. Will you look at the merits of ensuring there's a proper interchange at this location with the London Overground line, which actually crosses nearby?
Yeah, now that you've mentioned it, I'll check that's happening. But a note's been taken, I'm sure, and I'll chase that up.
Okay, thank you very much. And I just want to add, as I have time left, goodness me, this is unusual. In terms of the distance, the 2 kilometre distance that I've highlighted to you, I just want to ask, are you aware that if you look at other parts of the tube network, normally the gap between stations, you know, I don't know, Marble Arch to Bond Street, it's 0.55 kilometres, Holland Park to Shepherd's Bush, 0.87 kilometres. So the idea that you would have a 2 kilometre gap between the Elephant and Castle and the first station on this extension really is really out of kilter with the rest of the network. And will you consider that as part of your considerations on whether we can have a station at the Bricklayers Arms?
Yeah, I mean, the TfL proposed 2 options for the location of the old Kent Road station. One, Southwark, as I understand, prefer the Tesco Superstore site. TfL also proposed 2 options for Old Kent Road station. Option 2, and Southwark prefer the Toys R Us location. So you'll appreciate when you move the plans for a station to go from one place to another, that has a knock-on impact on what the distance is to the next station. And so we'll have to make sure that if it is the case, for example, that TfL was to come back with an option of Bricklayers Arms, the knock-on impact that would have. But the points you made are points well made. It is an extension. It's a lot of money, so we want to make sure we use the money sensibly. We kick ourselves, like you said, if we had a situation like Jubilee Line where campaigning led to a station going where it otherwise wouldn't do, and we could have had a station here and we didn't. There is precedent in the Cross Line where Woolwich now is a crossrail station because of lobbying in previous years, and so I take on board your points, which are well made. And bearing in mind the stations, the lines, the extensions due to be delivered by 28-29. I think there's time to get this right. So I'll make sure that I relay to TfL the points you've made, which are well made.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your commitment today. Thank you.